I know inflation happened, but inflation wasn't that bad to where we had to go from 600 billion to 1.2 trillion dollars in Medicaid spending. Like, no, inflation wasn't that bad to where we had to double our spending. That's why the cuts were made, and that's why they needed to be made. Because guess who takes advantage of that? Illegals and pharmaceutical and healthcare corporations who can overcharge us. Those are the only people who take advantage of this overspending, not the American people. And the fact that the Democrats are championing this, it lets you know whose side they're on.
Rather than later. The White House has not indicated as much, and today the budget director, Russ Vought, said that north of 10,000 federal workers could be laid off during this government shutdown. Does that make Democrats rethink their strategy at all?
I don't think so. I think that what Russ Vought just announced today in the laying off of federal workers, we learned today a judge has put a temporary restraining order because it is likely illegal what he and the Trump administration is doing. The problem is that this administration, the Trump administration, folks like Russ Vought, they think that destroying our health care, making sure that housing is too expensive to live in, that jacking up the costs of our groceries, they think all of this is about hurting Democrats. What they are doing is hurting Americans, and they are hurting this country. And if Mike Johnson wants to say that this shutdown is going to last a long time, it is because he is choosing to punish the American people, and we cannot stand for it, and we cannot allow it.
And my pushback on that would be, well, hold on now. How are they hurting the American people when they're not the ones asking for spending? You guys are. And if this was about Obamacare healthcare subsidies, you guys could have passed this CR bill, and then you guys could have had this debate in 7 to 8 weeks when another CR bill was to be proposed. So what's going on with that? And bro, rise in healthcare. Do y'all even know how much funding Medicaid gets? Right now it's at $825 billion. We have enough. We have enough for the American people. The problem is they want to add enough for illegals and for their, well, I'm gonna be real with you, their corporate donors who are mainly in healthcare. I mean, look at Elizabeth Warren, and that's one of their main people.
Allow it. And we also cannot enable it by acquiescing and enabling the behavior of bullies. So it ends today.
So
if I could just add to something, Alexandria.
Go ahead, Senator.
This is the cynicism of the Speaker of the House. Mm-hmm. Where are your Republican colleagues tonight? They're back here in Washington negotiating?
That's an excellent question, Bernie. Right now, House Democrats are in Washington.
I mean, you know, the crazy thing is Dems don't understand that we only cut like $93 billion a year. You know that, right? So, yeah, we still have a lot of spending in Medicaid, and our biggest expenditure in the month of July, what the Dems do not like to bring up, was Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So people still have their Medicare, people still have their Medicaid, people still got their insurance. So what the Dems are telling you is a complete lie. And here's the thing. I mean, you guys want to talk about millions of people that are going to die because of Medicaid cuts. Where are they? Because that was a complete lie. And what are you going to say? Every person that just dies randomly died because they didn't have Medicaid? What sense does that make? So they can't even give you a figure on which they're going to calculate how much people are going to die because of these Medicaid cuts, because nobody's going to die. People are going to get kicked off the insurance for one, honestly being lazy, and they don't want to get a job or cooperate in their community, or they're just an illegal and they're not supposed to be on there anyway.
Washington, D.C. Senate Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Even Senate Republicans, I believe, are still in Washington, D.C. The only people who are not in Washington, D.C. are the over 200 elected Republicans in the House of Representatives, because Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, refuses to call the House in session. He refuses to also seat Adelita Grijalva because they want to...
That has nothing to do with the CR bill. That has nothing to do with the CR bill at all. And then they want to bring up about the Epstein files. You know, that's a bipartisan, thing they're doing. What was it? It's Kohana and Thomas Massey. There's a Republican and a Democrat that are low-key leading this whole effort to release the Epstein files. So you can't even say this is a one-party thing. It's not the Dems going in there trying to get the Epstein files. It's not just them. It's Republicans as well, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey. But then the Dems want to see and act like they're the only persons pushing for it, and they know that's a lie. So no, it's not about swearing that lady in, because that has nothing to do with the CR bill. and neither does stating the majority control or the majority rule that the Republicans have on the Senate, because we need 60 votes. But really, though, we need about five Dems to come over and be sensible and vote on the CR bill. But we see that they're letting, this lady right here control the party.
Prevent the 218 signature
and there are more than 2 Republicans, so don't be a childish dumbass.
Release of the Epstein files as well.
Can I ask you on that? Because Speaker Johnson was asked about that today, and he said it has nothing to do with that. It's so she can have all the pomp and circumstance that is afforded to most members when they're sworn in. You don't believe that?
No, Mike Johnson has sworn in several members, Republican members, in pro forma sessions.
And the government's closed. You guys know that, right? The government's closed, so there is no swearing this lady in until the government reopens. And really, unless the Dems concede on their healthcare purchasing or their healthcare spending, then that lady will never be sworn in. It is what it is. Well, not never, but until the government opens up, then she'll be sworn in. And I mean, like I said, that's such a non-argument. It doesn't even matter.
He understands that the importance of this country, the importance of representation, is not about pomp and circumstance. And in fact, it's not just about Representative Grijalva. It's about the over 700,000 people in the state of Arizona, veterans, seniors, teachers, students who do not have anyone to call in an emergency because their elected representative that has been certified at municipal, state, and the federal level with federal acknowledgement, he refuses to seat a duly elected official here in the House of Representatives.
So we have a lot of questions tonight for people who are here in Washington. And Representative Ocasio-Cortez, this first question is for you. This is Alicia Dulford, who is from Camp Springs, Maryland, and is a TSA officer who's active in her local federal employees union. Thank you so much for being here. What's your question?
Thank you for having me. As the month November approaches, many of us are facing serious hardships as we enter week 3 of the shutdown. Some are at risk of eviction or mortgage default, and local rental companies and lenders have become silent or refused to work with employees presenting DHS debt letters. What protections or emergency actions can be taken to prevent these workers and their families from losing their homes during this time?
Well, thank you so much for your question. And
that was real.
Particularly as a TSA employee, I represent LaGuardia Airport. And so yes. I know very, very well all the hard work that you all do and put in. And,
yes, ma'am.
And you all deserve a dignified workplace. You deserve a safe workplace. And you deserve the paycheck that you are working for. What I believe the best thing that we can do.
How about this, AOC? This lady just came to you straight and said, yo, this government shutdown is effing me up. Why don't you just say, you know what? We'll handle the CR. We'll handle those healthcare subsidies later. We'll go ahead and open it up so we're not hurting Americans like you. Because remember, we're waiting on the Dems. The Republicans don't want anything. They're okay with the CR bill as exactly as it is. It's the Dems that got to sign on this. And since they're the demanding party, it's their fault. And they're going to continue having people like this come in front of them and be like, yo, so what about us? Because it seems like you care more about fighting Trump than caring for the American people. Because you can care for the American people and say F Trump at the same time. I mean, you could have just did what y'all were doing in the courts, even though you were losing. So maybe that's why they decided to shut down the government, because they can't win in the courts. But yeah, you didn't have to shut down the government to affect the people in order to just say F Trump. But it does seem like it's, well, F Trump over supporting your people. Well, shout out Tove. Appreciate the support, sis. She says, hey, Suge, can you please explain why a young melanated man would support Trump? I mean, can you please explain why a young melanated man would support Trump? Yeah, because one, we actually care about our economy. We actually care about our community, and the Dems don't care about the black community. They don't. I mean, they let high crime go through there. They let drugs run through there. They let psychopaths run the streets and get off on cashless bail. They allowed black people in black community to steal from Walmart and didn't arrest them unless they stole over a certain amount. So they literally proliferated crime in the black community. And then they sit there and act like they're our savior. Like, fuck them. Also, why are we seeing more and more black Americans supporting him and the conservatives? They need an explanation. Oh yeah, I mean, one, black community has always been conservative. I'd say majority of us have been brainwashed by the Democratic Party to think the Republicans are all just racist white people. But honestly, we're conservative. We believe in family. We don't play that gay stuff, most of us. I mean, we're Christians, majority of us, we're mainly conservative. Like, we love our conservative values, but for some reason, though, we choose the liberals who honestly hate our whole lifestyle and who wants to destroy it. And they do. I mean, through pushing a victim mindset, of course, reparations, something that we're never going to get. And then, not really promoting any type of, I would say, community organization. They rather us depend on the government than us dependent on ourselves. And if black people start depending on themselves, then let's be real, the Democratic Party run out of a whole lot of voters, because they'd be honestly leaning into more of their conservative values of picking themselves up by the bootstraps, that they would say, or really picking up the entire community by the bootstraps, and stop depending on liberals to save y'all lives. I mean, the white ones that let in all the criminals and the illegals into your neighborhoods. I mean, the same people that are destroying y'all neighborhoods, y'all love, y'all are worshiping, y'all are kissing their ass. I mean, pathetic. But then they wonder why black men, I guess those or the more masculine black men are going over to the conservative side. Because I'm tired of seeing people who share my skin complexion sell us out and then claim it's for our benefit, while letting in all types of illegals, all types of crime, all types of drugs, and all they have for us is, oh, but Trump is bad, oh, orange men bad. I don't give a fuck about the orange man at that point. I just care about my community. And that's what drove a lot of black men away, is the fact that they completely failed our community, and all they have for us was, well, Trump is bad. Oh my God, fuck you guys. Oh man, fuck you guys. Oh man, I'm slowly starting to forgive them and all that. I'm starting to see them as, of course, Americans. But back in the day, oh man, it was F you guys.
Is to reopen the government right now, and to ensure and to also call on our representatives and put pressure on individuals like the Speaker of the House to actually pick up the phone. The problem here is not that there's a disagreement. It's that the Speaker of the House and the Trump administration refuses to even have a negotiation. They refuse to even pick up the phone and talk about this. And so I do not want us to start to agree with what Mike Johnson is saying, and to have them preview for us and normalize the idea that everyone's just going to miss a paycheck, that 1 million federal workers are just going to go without that, and to just warn that in advance and to have us accept that. This is not acceptable. This is not normal. And what is normal is for us to negotiate. When one party wants the votes of another party, you negotiate, you come to a compromise, and you pass a bill. That is schoolhouse rock, and that is how things should be. So I thank you for that, and I want to make sure that we, of course, pass a bevy of federal protections for workers, but
I mean, bro, actually, I got to call you out, Adrian, because honestly, bro, you just sat here and watched a whole bunch of people call me Blackie and all these type of racist rhetoric just because I support Trump, and you said nothing. But you want me to care about a bunch of fat, gross-looking young Republicans, because let's be real, they were like not the best-looking people. You want me to care about what they say? I don't care. I know that's not majority of the Republican Party. Now, you guys are radicalized to think that, but trust me, a lot of people know better than to think that. I mean, we don't all think you guys are that Jay guy who was out here thinking that what? I don't believe that you want to see my children and my wife die, bro. Now, there's a Democratic AG in Virginia who said that about a Republican, but I'm not going to sit there and take that guy and just put it on you as well, G. Like, that's just retarded. I'm going to be real with you. Like, you think very retardedly. I mean, like, like, you might want to start putting your hand up to start letting people know, But, hey, I'm just going to be real with you, dog. Nobody really caring about what those young Republicans say. But you just sat here and watched a black man get all types of racial slurs thrown at him just because he, agreed with Trump? So, when it comes to Republicans, it's bad. But when it comes from Dems, it's acceptable. Like, bro, check yourself.
we don't want them to be necessary in the first place.
Yeah, and Senator Sanders, on that front, on government shutdowns before, obviously you've said before that you believe shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action. You said that we must do everything possible to prevent it. What would you say to people who are missing their paychecks about why it's worth it now?
Well, let me just, first of all, thank you very much for your service. And we're going to do everything we can and move as quickly as we can to make sure you get your paychecks. But I want to just back up a little bit to discuss how we got to where we are, because I'm not sure everybody knows this. What Alexandria was just saying is in the House, majority rules, they pass the budget. In the Senate, not quite the case. It needs 60 votes, okay? That's been going on for a very long time. And the reason for the 60 votes is to encourage bipartisan negotiations, all right? Republicans have 53 people in their caucus. Democrats, including independents, have 47. You got to talk.
Yeah, they did. And Republicans said they'll give a 1-year extension on the Obamacare healthcare subsidies. That wasn't good enough for them. So at a certain point, what do you guys want? Because you just can't expect, but you just can't expect everything to go y'all way. At that point, you're negotiating like spoiled children. It's like y'all just want your way. And then you guys want to talk about negotiating. It's like you're not negotiating. You're holding the government hostage so you guys can get your way. Because they already said, all right, look, we'll go ahead and give you that 1-year extension on the healthcare subsidies. Y'all got exposed on that, because now we know it's not about healthcare subsidies. It's literally about the 1.5 trillion in spending you guys want back in. That's all. It's not about healthcare subsidies. They don't care about your healthcare premiums. They just care about bloated spending for their corporate cronies, or I'm sorry, but their corporate endowers. That's it. They don't care about y'all.
This time, for the first time in history, what Republicans are saying, yeah, we don't have 60 votes. We're not talking to you, our way or the highway. And what we are saying, sorry, you got to sit down and talk to us. You got to deal with the healthcare crisis in this country.
Well, and they have both Republicans.
There is no healthcare crisis in this country, Bernie. There is no exorbitant amount of people losing healthcare and that's going to die from it. Not at all. Actually, there's people who are on Medicaid who still got Medicaid. People who are on Medicare. The old people. Well, Medicare is still funded, at $1.2 trillion. So y'all better not be talking about Medicaid. My bad, Medicare. Medicare is funded at $1.2 trillion. So y'all better not be talking about that. Medicaid, now that's at like $55 billion now. Come on. And there's only 70 million people right now on Medicaid, and it's covering everybody. Actually, we were covering less people with like $600 billion in 2019. It's less. Bro, we had 71.5 billion and we only needed 600 billion. So how are we in a healthcare crisis when we have more than enough needed for the 70 million people on Medicaid right now? How is that a crisis?
Have argued that Democrats should reopen the government and then they'll negotiate. Where do you both stand on that prospect?
I don't know. Based on their history, they've had months and months. This is not a new thing. Ever since Trump's big, beautiful bill was passed,
Hey, shout out to my man Harry St. Clair. He says, sorry if this is a stupid question, but I'm British, so it doesn't America introduce gun controls like ones in South Africa and Switzerland where they're having guns but less mass shootings? Let's see here. Doesn't America introduce gun control? Nah, bro, we're not for that. The problem with us, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't like gun control laws because you never know. Like as soon as we take the guns away, that's when the dictators come out. I'm gonna be real with you. Whenever you take the guns away, look, when the guns go away, the dictators come to play. That's how you know Trump's not a dictator. The day I know a dictator is when they want guns away from us. That's when you know who's a dictator, because once they take those guns away, that's when they use the guns on you. But for some reason, Dems don't understand that. For some reason, they don't understand how they literally walk themselves into the fascism that they say they fear so much.
Knew this was happening.
Shut out, Harry.
Refused to negotiate, and anyone thinks that tomorrow they'll suddenly start negotiating.
And good looking, bro.
Is smoking what is illegal in many states.
Okay. On that front, let's get to our next
legal in more.
From the audience. Senator Sanders, this one's for you. This is Jeffrey Katz, who is a tax attorney from Potomac, Maryland, who says he's a Democrat who voted for President Trump in the last election. Jeffrey, what's your question?
Senator Sanders, you've said 50,000 people could die from ACA subsidy cuts. But right now, 1.4 million federal workers aren't getting paid.
Boy.
How do you justify choosing a fight over subsidies that might help people in the future over workers who are definitely suffering today?
We're talking to, along with Alexandria, one of the strongest pro-worker members of the United States Congress. So we are going to fight for federal workers. And by the way, in terms of the AFTRA union, you are aware that our friend in the White House basically,
that's retarded,
in an unprecedented way, decided he wasn't going to have that union anymore, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to fight for federal employees. But what you just said about 50,000 people dying a year, this is based on studies done from the University of Pennsylvania and Yale. You take 15 million people off of their health care, by and large, low-income and working-class people. What do you think is going to happen to them? They don't go to a doctor. They have chronic problems. They will die. So this issue, and by the way, if I may.
I mean, now with the MTILA law, I mean, shoot, we're kind of forced to give health care to people, even if they don't have health care. We'll sign them up for the health care if they're a citizen, of course. If they're a citizen. So trust me, there's no health care problem. Like I remember when I was young and I ain't have health care and I did some stupid things and I ended up in the hospital. They signed me up for health care. Now I was living a reckless lifestyle. So, hey, I wasn't really thinking about it like that. But I was uninsured at a time and then I got insured. So I'm not really too worried about it because in America, we do our best to take care of people. Like we really do. We won't just leave you out there struggling. If you don't got a job and you're a really low income, then okay, cool. We'll help you out with some type of Medicare service, Medicaid. That's what Medicaid's for. Now you at least got to be volunteering. You just can't get on there and not have a job, which is cool because at least you're helping your community. And then if you're at least working 80 hours a month, you can get Medicaid. So let's be real. If people let themselves get kicked off Medicaid, they kind of deserved it because the standard is so low to be on there. And then once again, it's not like if somebody walks in there uninsured that they're not going to get taken care of, especially in an emergency situation. I mean, they'll sign your ass up for Medicaid if they figure out you ain't got no health care. I mean, especially if you're a U.S. citizen.
It's not only about health care. You know why we are in the situation we are today? Why do you think Trump and his friends made massive cuts to Medicaid and are forcing us to double premiums for the ACA? They gave the 1% in this country $1 trillion in tax breaks. $1 trillion in tax breaks at a time when we have more income and wealth inequality than any time in the history.
Now, let me go ahead and sit there and like Bernie. First off, $1 trillion in tax cuts. You know, the American people also got billions in tax cuts as well. Why don't you talk about that? It's like you're so hyper focused on the 1%. And I mean, here's the problem. That 1%, I mean, the thing is, they're the ones that create jobs. They're the ones that create opportunity in America. And I know people like to say, well, trickle down economics. Well, let's be real. You guys love Chinese products so much. So why don't y'all let the trickle down economics work for them? I mean, Trump is trying to let trickle down economics work for us by bringing the jobs back. But yeah, I heard the Dems don't want that. So yeah, y'all don't deserve to complain about trickle down economics because you love it when it works for China, but not for the American people, which is weird. I mean, hey man, I guess it's that whole anti-American thing y'all got going on is, I don't know. I guess it's taking over. It's sad, but hey, anything that works out for the American people, Dems hate it because Donald Trump is doing it.
This country. So I am not going to sit back and say, yeah, we're going to let 50,000 people die so that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and other multi-billionaires can get a tax break.
But can I ask you in terms of negotiations and what's realistic for the subsidies which expire at the end of December? Obviously, open enrollment starts November 1st. Over in the House, there are 14 House Republicans who have said that they will sign on and they will vote for a one-year extension of the subsidies. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said he thought that proposal was laughable. Do you think that's laughable, or is that something you could get behind?
Yeah, no, let me tell you why it's laughable, because it's cynical. Republicans want to sign on to just one little extra year of these ACA subsidies. You want to know why? What's happening next year? Midterm elections. They want to extend these subsidies just a year extra so that people don't realize the dupe that they are pulling on everyone.
Wait, what?
So that they can all reelect themselves.
Hold on, sis. Do you hear yourself? Hold on. Oh, so you don't want them on? Like, AOC, do you want them on or not? Do you want the subsidies on or not? Because now you're saying, oh, well, they only extended it so they won't lose the midterms. So what do you want, AOC? Do you want to keep them off? Do you want them to expire so they lose the midterms? So millions of Americans' healthcare premiums go up. That's what you're saying pretty much. Because, like, what? I can't believe she's making this argument right now.
And allow those things to expire the moment that they win re-election. And it is time to get politics out of what should be a guaranteed universal right in the United States of America, and that is health care. And so I will not accept a measly 1 year acceptance of a measly 1 year extension of the ACA. We need to make sure, and as a member of the party, We put negotiations in the hands of our party's leadership with Hakeem Jeffries. He says it's no, it's no.
They already are this.
And we have to make sure that we are expanding and continuing the fight and not falling for the fine print, not falling for the tricks, and not falling for the politics around this.
If I could add to what Alexandria was saying, it's not just 15 million people losing their health insurance. And it's not just tens of millions of people seeing a doubling or a tripling in their premiums. Our healthcare system.
I mean, guys, you know, there was 71.5 million people on Medicaid in 2019. Right now, there are 70 million Americans. So from 2019 to right now, there's only been 1 million people off of Medicaid. What are you talking about? Like, bro, unless Medicaid is down, unless there's like 60 million people on Medicaid, I don't want to hear nothing. You guys are honestly lying. That's like an honest to God lie. Because if you look up how much people on Medicaid right now, it's still going to say about 70 million. Now, for what they're saying to be right and 15 million to be taken off, then I need to see 55, 60 million people on Medicaid by next year, or everything they said has been a complete lie. And I doubt we're going to see that.
You guys can argue with me if you want. I think our healthcare system is broken. I think it is dysfunctional. And I think it's on the verge of collapse. And understand that when we talk about these massive cuts to healthcare from Trump and his friends, you're talking about cuts to nursing homes. You're talking about cuts to rural hospitals. You're talking about cuts to community health centers where 32 million people get their primary care. This system is on the verge of collapse. And I would hope that everybody in this room and everybody in America ask themselves a very simple question. Why is the United States, the richest country in the history of the world, the only major nation not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right?
So can I ask, if a one-year extension you say is measly and doesn't cut it, what exactly do you want to see? What would you vote for?
Well, again, you know, negotiations are all about a back and forth. And the idea of accepting something for nothing, I don't think is something that we're prepared to do. And by that, I mean, that requires Mike Johnson saying what he's willing to do and engaging in those negotiations.
AOC, I don't even want to hear nothing from you. You just said that even if they'll expand the healthcare subsidies, you'll be upset because, oh, they only did it to win the midterms. I'm like, bro. So do you want them to put them on or not? Like, make it make sense. Like, she does not make sense at that very moment. I don't even know how y'all take this lady serious. As soon as she said that, I'd have been like, okay, yeah, so something's going on with the Democratic Party to where she could sit there, complain about healthcare subsidies while also complaining that, oh, well, if Republicans do it, they're just doing it for the midterms. It's like, do you want it on or not?
With Hakeem Jeffries. And so this is a team sport.
Crazy how they can play both sides like this.
Can come to something that we can agree with. So, you know, I think we know what we will not accept, and what we will not accept is for these ACA premiums to skyrocket on the American people. What we will not accept is the doubling of these premiums, and what we will not accept is allowing the teetering of this system to collapse.
Great. Well, you just admitted that the Republicans wanted a one-year extension, so they're not accepting it either. But then you also stated within the same breath that they're only doing it to win the midterms. So what you're also saying that what, you want them to keep it off so they lose the midterms? Like, what are you trying to say, AOC? That's a bit, I don't know, man. That's a bit weird. Like, huh?
Before everyone's up.
Okay, so you won't accept 1 year. I know, Senator, you've said that you believe they should be permanent, but in terms of what actually happens next year, what do you need to see for the government to be reopened? Can you walk me through what that looks like?
All right, so pretty much, yeah, that's a non-negotiable. I mean, y'all said y'all wanted them extended. Now y'all wanted them to be permanent. And remember, these are enhanced subsidies. So y'all want to continue this spending. I mean, we're trying to kind of wane ourselves off by growing the American economy and not just pretty much growing the government. I mean, that's one of the main problems of the Biden administration. They put so much money into welfare that they forgot to look out for the American worker.
I have a radical idea. You ready for a radical idea? Let's do what the American people want. Do a poll, CNN. Ask people how many think it's a great idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%.
Nah, bro, be honest. I would say, man, do a poll. Do you really care that if there's a 1-year extension or a permanence to the Obamacare healthcare subsidies? Do you really care? Because remember, the whole goal is to reform Obamacare. That's always been Trump's plan. So they're going on 2 non-negotiables of 1.5 trillion in Medicaid spending and a permanent to the healthcare subsidies, which they're allowing a 1-year extension. So I'm not really sure why they switched. Because remember, at first they wanted an extension, now they switched to permanent. I mean, nobody really noticed how Hakeem Jeffries did that, but if you've been paying attention, I mean, the man then definitely switched up the story.
And decimate the American healthcare system. And if you do not have a strong majority of Republicans, Democrats, and independents saying that is crazy, I will be surprised. Let's do what the American people want. And at the very least, as we continue the fight for a Medicare for all single-payer system, we're going to protect people today from losing their health care or from seeing their premiums skyrocket, seeing nursing homes, community health centers decimated.
But let's say that the White House and Republican leaders say that they will extend these subsidies. It's not clear how long, because you say
no. They did say they were going to extend them for 1 year, but y'all want permanent. So the White House has already stated that they will extend the subsidies. I don't know what these guys are like. Well, we do know what they're waiting for. They're waiting to see if they can get them to agree to permanent ones, but I don't think they're going that far. Like I said, they're asking for non-negotiables. They're literally asking for stuff they know the Republicans are not going to go for, and not even trying to meet in the middle in no way, shape, or form.
1 year is not enough. They haven't even really put that forward yet. I think the question is, does that need to be enshrined into law? What does that need to look like before you would vote to reopen the government? Or is a commitment from the White House and Republicans enough?
No doubt.
I mean,
Mr. President, is a very honest man. And if he says something, man, you could take it to the bank.
So you're saying his word is not enough?
Bankruptcy court.
His word? No.
So what do you need to see? What commitments from?
I think we need to see ink on paper. I think we need to see legislation. I think we need to see votes. And I think we need to see these things pass on the floor of the House and the Senate and signed by President Trump. I don't accept IOUs. I don't accept pinky promises. That's not the business that I'm in.
Okay, so you need a signature from President Trump
Absolutely.
in order to vote to reopen the government.
Correct.
Okay, Senator Sanders, we've got another question. This one's for you. This is Logan Carey, who is a student at American University, who's a member of College Republicans and has volunteered for Republican campaigns. Thank you for being here, Logan. You're from Green, Maine. What's your question for the senator?
Thank you. Senator Sanders, which specific Republicans leaders do you believe you can work with to pass a CR and reopen the government?
Look, that's a great question, Logan.
Please.
And let me tell you, I can, mention a number of them. There are some decent, honest Republicans. And, in American society, we believe in democracy. You're a conservative Republican. We disagree. So what? It's called America. We have different points of view. I got to tell you, though, if I may, one of the things that has concerned me very, very much.
You didn't even answer the question.
And is that we are seeing the Republican Party doing less of representing their districts and their states than just swearing allegiance to the President of the United States. Now, I never thought that I would say this, but you have somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
See, the Dems don't realize that they've already been exposed. These cuts to the healthcare has already been done, and nobody has lost their healthcare service. Like, let's be real. Like, nobody has lost it in high numbers. We haven't seen 1 million, 2, 3, 4 million people hop off Medicaid all of a sudden. Really, we still got 70 million people. And I mean, shout out Mark, because he was like, damn, dude, that's pretty damn high. I know, but we had 1 million more like 4 years ago. So over the last 4 years, we had 1 million people come off Medicaid. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, that maybe they did it because they're in a better place in life, or who knows? Usually when you get off Medicaid, you got a job and your employer is now covering you. So that only means that during those 4 years, hey, 1 million people stopped needing Medicaid. But now all of a sudden, now that Trump's doing cuts to Medicaid, and he's not like he's zeroing it out, like he's just throwing away the whole program. He's just taking it down from like what 1.2 trillion to 800 billion. And these guys are losing their minds as if they're going to stop having health insurance. And that's just not true.
Saying, you know what? I was elected by my constituents. That's who I am beholden to, not the President of the United States. So there are good Republicans out there, and if Trump would leave them alone for 5 minutes, and not threaten them with a primary if they stood up and did the right thing, I think we can make progress. I will give you one story. Tom Tillis, conservative Republican from North Carolina. When we're debating this big, beautiful bill, Tillis looks at the bill, he reads the bill, he says, this is a disaster for North Carolina. I can't vote for it. Literally the next day, Trump was all over social media. The billionaires were all over saying, okay, you're finished. We're going to primary you. And a day later, this guy says, I'm out of here. I'm not running for re-election. All right. That's where we are right now.
I mean, yeah, you mean like you were going to do with Schumer, like how you guys were going to primary Schumer if he didn't shut down the government? Like, no, don't act like y'all don't play the same tactics. Because, yes, the Republicans do that as well. I mean, go ahead and speak out against Israel as a Republican politician. They'll primary your ass so quick. So, yeah, we do it on our side as well. But, dog, don't play innocent like y'all didn't just do that to my man Schumer. That's the whole reason why we got the government shut down, because y'all threatened to primary this man and Hakeem Jeffries. So let's not pretend y'all don't use the same scare strategy to get y'all people in line, which I disagree with on both sides. Like, I don't like the fact that any side does it.
And that is a very serious problem.
You mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's your colleague over in the House. The way she frames this is she says Democrats created this mess, but Republicans don't have any solutions to fix the healthcare issue either. Is she someone that you could see yourself working with?
On what?
On the healthcare.
I mean, listen, I think people can talk a good game.
Nope.
But until they actually support policy that helps people, I'm not particularly interested. But if she actually wants to support legislation and expanding healthcare, I've worked with plenty of Republicans as well on healthcare. I have a bill that I've introduced with Congresswoman Malliotakis, a Republican from New York, on expanding maternal health and reauthorizing the Healthy Start program to help newborns and new moms be able to support their kids. And so in terms of bipartisan legislation on healthcare, I'm more than open to doing that. But it's not just about talking the talk. We got to walk the walk.
And you would need to see her actually support something that you're behind in terms of legislation on healthcare.
Yeah, but see, and this is what I hate. They're not asking these guys like the best question of, I would be like, are you guys willing to work in the middle with the Republicans? Like, do you really need 1.5 trillion in, Medicaid spending? Do you really need a permanence to the Obamacare health subsidies? Because it seems like you guys are moving the goalposts. And I would ask that question. Like, it seems like you guys are moving the goalposts. And are you moving the goalposts? Because first y'all say y'all want an extension. They give you a 1-year extension. Now y'all said F the extension, you want permanence. I'm like, okay, well, that's completely different from what you guys said, but okay. But the only thing that's been remained consistent with them is this 1.5 trillion in healthcare spending. That's the only thing that's remained consistent. And they know that's not a good stance to be on, because I mean, you can't sit here and act for more spending when you guys were crying about the big, beautiful bill spending. And now you want to come here and add more spending? Come on now. Like, do you understand how you guys sound right now?
Our next question is for you, Representative. This is a video question. It's from Eric Johnson, who lives in Hernando, Mississippi. He's an air traffic controller and a father of 4 who is joining us via video tonight. This is his question.
What do you suggest government workers do for food money when the paychecks stop coming?
Damn.
I mean, these are the real questions that we have to be entertaining. And as I mentioned earlier, the best and most important solution to this is making sure that we.
And shout out Devilish Fish. He says, yeah, Caitlyn never pushed back on Democrats. Facts. Because I know, as soon as I've seen her too, as soon as I've seen Caitlyn, I was like, man, this is going to be a softball for them. I don't know. You know what? I think there should be a switch up. Any Republicans that want to do a town hall, you got to go on CNN because they're going to give you that pushback. Any Democrats that want to do a town hall, you better go to Fox because they're going to give you that pushback. I think, like, if y'all going to do town halls, y'all should do it in enemy territory, respectably. Like, come on now. I think that would be fun.
Reopen the
and they'd have to answer harder questions that would expose people on both sides, not just the Dems. Well, it's really going to expose the Dems, but some Republicans as well.
Government not accept the inevitability of this and come to a resolution as quickly as possible. Extending this shutdown would be a choice. Mike Johnson saying we want to make this the longest shutdown, saying this
He did
to
not say
prepare for this
that.
being the longest shutdown, that's not leadership. That is abdication of responsibility. It's an abdication to families like his, and a complete abdication of the responsibility that we have to people. Now, that being said, we do have to make sure that we come together as communities and that we also systemically expand our programming, like the SNAP cuts that just happened, in addition to the $1 trillion in healthcare cuts as well for families that are under financial duress.
You mentioned what Speaker Johnson has said about how long this could go on. We've heard from Senator Schumer as well, who said the other day that as long as this shutdown continues, he said, quote, every day gets better.
Now, you know what's so crazy though? And it's kind of sucks because this kind of shows you how radical the left has become. The fact that Dems can do, town halls and they don't got to worry about Republicans busting in, harassing them and saying all types of crazy things. I mean, it's kind of shameful how the left don't see that as a problem. Like Republicans can't do a town hall without leftist activism coming in there yelling at them, yelling over the people who's trying to ask them honest questions. Is like, it's damn near sad and kind of let you know who's the more mature side is. Now, I always do say Dems need to get their people under control. Like, you guys want Republicans to speak out, but I've watched a lot of Republican town halls and they all get interrupted by leftists in the back who are yelling, being disruptive, not letting the other people want to ask honest questions talk. You don't see Republicans doing that at Democratic town halls ever. So I would ask the Dems, like, yo, can y'all stop being so freaking childish?
Better for us. Do you think every day, though, gets better for someone like Eric?
No, I mean,
that is not a lie. I wish
at the end of the day,
dog, I wish what I said right now was a lie. I wish it was, because to sit here and have to admit that grown ass adults act like fucking children just because the people that they don't like are up on a stage, that's embarrassing.
This needs to be as short as possible. We do not want the government to be shut down. We don't. This is not something that is good for any American. It's not good for the million federal workers that are out there right now. It's not good for the Americans that rely on federal services. It's not good for people who are traveling and can't get through an airport because TSA workers are not being paid. So we have to make sure that this is as swift and as short as possible.
Well, and speaking of airports and what air traffic controllers are having to go through, not getting paid, I mean, he's a father of four, so I can't even imagine how that feels. And Senator Sanders, on that front, in a CNN story the other day, there was a senior Democratic aide who told CNN last week that Democrats won't back down on their demands here, short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky.
All right. What can I tell you? That's obviously unacceptable. Look, what we are dealing with is an unprecedented moment in American history. All right? So it's not only a debate about whether or not we can save health care for tens and tens of millions of Americans. It's also a broader issue. And that issue is whether or not we will accept the reality that a handful of very, very wealthy people are now making out like bandits while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. So I think what we are saying is that now is the time, not just on healthcare, but all across the spectrum. People can't afford groceries. The housing crisis is enormous. People paying 40, 50% of their limited incomes for housing. And all the while working class families are struggling to put food on the table, Trump gives his billionaire friends huge tax breaks, and they are getting richer and richer. So what all of this is about...
Well, actually, Bernie, no, they're, one, reshoring some of their manufacturing. They're also building data centers, factories, offices that, Americans work in. So yes, when we give tax cuts to our billionaires who create jobs and opportunities for Americans, yeah, they go out and create more jobs and opportunities for Americans through something we like to call reinvesting. I mean, you Dems should learn about it, because it seemed like you forgot that's how these businesses grow in the first place, through reinvesting. They make more money through reinvesting, opening up another factory, office, etc., and put people in those.